Okay, so we're going to talk about some core knowledge that you're going to want to know for this science section. So for the section, you don't need advanced knowledge. You don't have to have like a really firm grasp in science, but there are some terms you're going to want to be comfortable with and know the definition of because they're going to come up in the test and they're just going to make you more comfortable and it's going to test you some really basic science knowledge. So first with earth and space science, you want to know the definitions of things like soil, crust, the mantle, what a star, constellation, planet, and galaxy are, greenhouse gases, atmosphere, climate. So these things you're going to want to know how to define. These are things you've probably seen before, but they might come up on the test. For biology, you're going to want to know your cell components and what they do. So the nucleus, the mitochondria, ribosomes, chloroplasts, lysosomes. ATP, you're going to want to know about that mitosis and meiosis process. What's respiration? What's photosynthesis? Where do all of these happen? So just like your little basic cell knowledge. You're going to want to have knowledge of macromolecules like carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, DNA, RNA, other things about genetics, your alleles, your traits, inheritance, and some things about bacterial growth. For chemistry, got to know your formulas, reactants, products, moles, knowing the structure of an atom and the charges. So what's a proton, an electron, and a neutron, and what charge do they hold? Your states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas, and what each phase transition is called. Your properties of molecules, atomic structures, molar mass, pH scales. So what makes it an acid, a base, and a neutral? For physics, you're going to want to know things about gravity, so the difference between mass and weight, your normal and frictional forces and their typical directions, kinetic and potential energy, what's velocity, acceleration, current, voltage, resistors, capacity, what's the period of a wave and what's the amplitude, and just things about density. So all of these are like overarching simplistic, so just like a definitional basis. Of these questions, like think about the easiest questions that you see on a science test. It's just going to be things that you have all seen because you have sat in a high school science class, and they do expect you to know some things about that, not a very deep level like you have to know with math and reading, just like a very surface level. Here's an example of a type of problem that requires you to know at least a surface level amount. It says human activity has increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. When this atmospheric carbon dioxide dissolves into the ocean, it leads to ocean acidification. Which of the following represents the change in the pH of the Earth's ocean due to ocean acidification? So I have to know a little bit about the pH scale to know what acidification or what happens to the pH scale when we go through acidification. So I know that on the pH scale, a 7 is neutral. I know that all numbers lower than 7 represent acids and all above represent bases. So if my levels of acids are increasing, then I am going to assume that that pH level is getting lower because acids have lower pH levels. Again, very little knowledge, but this is going to help me answer that question.